Somebody like us who just goes out to AI and creates something, how do you what are the gray areas and how do you see the black and white in something like this?
The most frequent challenges we're seeing is that people immediately believe what the AI output has been delivered. Blindly trusting AI at this point in time is not the best option. Lawyers are scared as well. Okay, the technology, it's going to take away a lot of jobs at a junior level.
So we're here in the Convergence studio with Anuradha Chowdhury, founder 023 Collective.
Thank you for
Anuradha,
having me.
welcome to Convergence. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Give us a little bit of background. What do you do and what is your expertise?
I am the founder of 023 Collective.
Okay.
We're a specialized law firm for new technologies.
Okay.
So we work with clients across the globe that build and deploy interesting tech.
Nice. And you were part of the AI startups from hackathons to hyperscaling session.
Yes.
So give us a little bit of a brief on the session and what kind of conversations took place.
The conversations honestly were very interesting because we had someone from government, we had investors, we had researchers. So we had a very diverse perspective on a very simple topic, which is on how to scale AI startups. I obviously gave a legal perspective and I hope the audience didn't fall asleep because lawyers can tend to be boring. But it was very well organized. Our moderator was the founder of InDrive.
Okay.
So he'd also lived in India for a bit. He was very good at connecting with the rest of us and he organized the questions very well. So I think the session flowed very seamlessly because it's not easy to handle such a diverse set of panelists, right? I mean, I've been on panels where it's a bunch of lawyers and I think that's easier for a moderator to navigate, but this was a very diverse set of people and he asked all of the right questions.
So I'm going to ask you a sort of ethical, legal, quasi kind of question.
Okay.
So not very long ago, we decided for Convergence, we wanted a theme song. And unfortunately, sadly, we decided too late. As a result of which, the team turned to AI to create a theme song. And it was actually really good between the inputs from the team and what they came up with. But it also deprives an actual musician and a creator from actually getting the ability to do something like that for us, which is what we would like to have done. And we would like to have given a creator an opportunity to create a piece of original music for us. But we didn't have time because we thought about it too late.
Okay.
And AI has become so good that, frankly, it turned out to be a pretty amazing piece of music. But that's one of the challenges, right, in this field. For creators, musicians, artists, how do they retain their identity and IP to their creative piece? And then for somebody like us who just goes out to AI and creates something, how do you what are the gray areas and how do you see the black and white in something like this?
It's a very difficult question. Are you talking about the rap
Correct.
song at the beginning?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I got a video recording of that when
Okay.
it was playing and it's excellent. I had
Thank
no
you.
idea that it was created by AI
Yeah.
at all. I don't think anyone, no layman can tell that it has been created by AI.
From the fiber optic cables to the wireless effects. We're live in New Delhi, the stage is all set. The biggest tech expo that you've ever met. Step inside and take a look. Every booth is a chapter in the future's book. See the 6G soaring in the clouds.
And ethically, it's a very difficult situation to be in because you're right, you don't want to deprive artists
Yeah.
of, what their bread and butter is and their artistic image out there, their self-expression. But at the same time, it is true that AI is much more cost-effective to use and it's much faster as well. If you are someone who is using AI to create this content and you're using this content specifically for a commercial purpose like Convergence, which is making money, you have to be very careful with the AI platform that you're using because you need to make sure you have the right to use the content that the AI has generated for a commercial purpose.
Right.
So as someone who has used the platform for creating this piece of music, be careful about that. When it comes to the artists themselves, it's a difficult place for them to be in. And I empathize. I used to be a filmmaker as well. And now I look at the film industry and I see how it's going to be impacted by AI, how it's already being impacted by AI. And I don't have an answer for you on what one can do from a non-legal perspective to safeguard themselves. Lawyers are scared as well. Okay, the technology, it's going to take away a lot of jobs at a junior level, and maybe what artists can do is try to put themselves out there as much as possible. Try to associate their likeness, which is their personality, their images, their videos. And I know there are deepfakes, that's a whole different situation, but with the music that they create, so you're then not only being engaged by, by an employer, by an entity for the piece of music that you're creating, but it's the overall thing. But yeah, there's no other way at this point in time to sort of future-proof yourself against AI, unfortunately. If you're an
And what are some of the most frequent challenges that you're seeing coming up in this age of AI?
The most frequent challenges we're seeing is that people immediately believe what the AI output has been delivered. I'll give you a very easy example of this. I remember when I started toying with ChatGPT, I asked it a very simple question which all lawyers would understand, right? What is the difference between an asset transfer and a business transfer?
Right.
And it said there's no difference. Whereas the difference is, one is where you cherry pick the assets, the other, the liabilities are transferred. And when I fed it the correct answer, it said, oh, sorry, you're right. This is what the answer is. So I think blindly trusting AI at this point in time is not the best option. And I'm not saying that it won't be sophisticated enough in a very short time. I think in a few months from now, maybe we won't have this problem. But the idea is that everyone should use their own judgment and before sort of trusting anything that AI says.
And you've been a speaker at a number of shows internationally. What is your perspective of speaking here at this expo?
Honestly, it was very well organized. I did not expect it. From the moment that I arrived, I think there was a separate gate for speakers to arrive at. And there was, it's like they knew who the expected speakers are supposed to arrive by time, by date, based on what your session was, because they didn't even look at a list. I told them my name and they're like, yes, and they immediately ushered me in. They got me in here. The speaker lounge was very nice. It's been a very comfortable experience, and everyone that I've interacted with has had something to teach me, which has, you don't see that at every conference that you go for.
Well, thank you once again for being here. We
My
very much
pleasure.
value you being a speaker.
Thank you for
And
having me.
Thank you for joining us at the
No,
Convergence
it's
studio.
a great event, and I hope to come to it every year.
Thank you very much.